Chosen one, this message didn't find you by accident. God led you here for a reason. You've been crying out for clarity. You've been asking God, when will it be my turn? This is your confirmation. This is your divine notice that everything is shifting, and not by luck, but by design. You're not just about to come out of survival mode. You're about to step into supernatural supply. You're not just going to have enough. You're going to have more than enough. This is the prophecy. You will no longer be the borrower. You are becoming the lender. And this isn't just about money. It's about authority, influence, legacy, dominion. So let's break it down into 7 divine chapters, so your spirit can grasp what your eyes have not yet seen. Before we dive deep, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because this message isn't just content, it's a divine confirmation for the chosen ones. And a heartfelt thank you to everyone who's been supporting through Super Thanks. God bless you richly. Your presence, your faith, and your consistency are seen by heaven. To all of you who show up, listen, and align, you are part of this divine move, and I'm deeply grateful. If your spirit feels this frequency, type 77 in the comments right now. That number isn't random. It's a prophetic agreement with the Most High and the spiritual realm that you're ready. Ready to receive the divine increase, the divine inheritance, and the divine positioning that heaven has already assigned to your name. Not everyone will make it to the end of this message. Only those truly chosen to carry abundance with integrity. Those who stay will receive clarity, spiritual strategy, and prophetic awareness about the wealth shift that's already in motion. This isn't a feel-good message, it's a spiritual blueprint, a living word that will meet you differently each time you hear it. So when your spirit needs a reminder, come back, because with each replay, another layer of revelation will rise to the surface. Your days of borrowing are ending. Your season of lending, leading, and building is just beginning by divine design. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. God saw how you struggled, but He never let you break. Chosen one. Before we even go further, you need to understand something deep. God was there the entire time, not just in your victories, not just in your public praise, but in your quiet breakdowns behind closed doors, in the nights where you clutched your chest, wondering how you'd survive the next day, in the moments where your prayers didn't even have words, only tears. He saw it, all of it. You know what it means to survive on fumes, to pretend to be okay when your world is quietly falling apart. You've gone through seasons where you were the one encouraging everyone else, while secretly wondering who would encourage you. You weren't just borrowing money or time, you were borrowing peace from scriptures, borrowing hope from promises that hadn't manifested yet, borrowing strength just to keep showing up. You looked stable on the outside, but inside, you were held together by fragile faith and unspoken prayers. You didn't always have support, but you had spirit. You didn't always have provision, but you had the provider. And that's why you're still standing. There were days when your emotions wanted to collapse, when your soul was exhausted and giving up seemed like mercy. But someone kept whispering, "Not yet. You're almost through." And you kept moving, even if the silence from heaven made you wonder if your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling. You weren't just enduring, you were being refined. You were in a divine classroom, learning what can't be taught in comfort, endurance, compassion, vision, humility. Some of the people you helped in your dry seasons turned around and acted like they didn't know you. You poured into others when your cup was empty. But you did it anyway, not because you were weak, but because you were called, and heaven wrote it all down. Because before God makes someone a lender, before he releases overflow, he watches how you behave in lack, not to punish you, but to position you, not to starve you, but to sharpen you. You see, many people want abundance, but few have the depth of character to carry it with honor. Lack will teach you what entitlement never will. It'll make you wise with every seed you sow, because you'll remember what it felt like to need a miracle. That's why God let you experience what you did. So when you become the lender, when your hands are blessed to overflow, you won't use it to boast. You'll use it to bless. You'll remember where you came from, and more importantly, who brought you out. This is the part many people skip. They want the crown without the cross. They want the harvest without the hardship. But you've been through all of it. And still, you never cursed God. You never sold your soul for a shortcut. You waited, you struggled, you remained faithful. And now, heaven is responding. You didn't break, you were broken open. And what came out was pure. That's why this is your confirmation. That's why God has chosen you to go from borrower to lender. Chapter 2. The borrowing season trained your character. Borrowing humbles you in ways that nothing else can. It strips away pride. It tests your ego. It puts you in a position where you have to open your mouth, not to declare victory, but to ask for help. That kind of asking can make your hands tremble. It can make you feel small, invisible, ashamed, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are learning something right. God was never trying to humiliate you. He was trying to form you. He wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. He let you live through lack, not to limit you, but to discipline your spirit for legacy. Because the truth is, abundance without character is dangerous. And God is not in the business of raising reckless lenders. He's building responsible stewards. You thought you were just surviving. You thought you were just getting by. But spiritually, you were in training. God was putting your heart through fire to see if it would stay soft. Because nothing reveals your true nature like having to depend on others when you'd rather be independent. You had to trust people who didn't always treat you with grace. You had to smile when you were ignored, overlooked, and underestimated. You had to carry your dignity through the hallway of humiliation. And that takes strength only heaven can measure. There are people who crave the title of lender because of how it looks. They want the spotlight, the influence, the power, but they don't have the internal structure to carry that weight. They want the glory of overflow, but not the story of obedience and sacrifice. But you endured what they couldn't. You waited when others ran ahead. You kept your heart clean in a dirty world. You didn't use manipulation to escape the pressure. You didn't betray your calling just to feel comfortable. You didn't hustle your way into a fake version of abundance. You trusted the process, even when it felt like punishment. And it wasn't just about money. You were borrowing peace. You were borrowing clarity. You were borrowing patience and strength to keep showing up with excellence even when no one clapped for you. And through all that, you didn't lose your identity. You didn't become someone else just to get by. You stayed true, silent but stable, hidden but holy, tired but teachable. And that, chosen one, is why you're being elevated now. Because when you had every reason to give up, you grew up instead. When you had every opportunity to compromise, you chose character. And heaven recorded it. Now God can trust you with overflow. Not because you prayed loud, but because you walked quiet. Not because you had followers, but because you had faith. Not because you were perfect, but because you were pure in heart. You passed the test when no one was watching. You passed the test with tears, with silence, with empty hands, but a surrendered heart. And that kind of obedience speaks louder in heaven than any public performance. So now, everything is shifting. God is releasing what He withheld, not because you finally earned it, but because your character can now handle it. You're not just being blessed, you're being trusted, because what He's about to place in your hands isn't just for you. It's for nations. It's for generations. This is not just elevation. This is confirmation that the pain trained you and the pressure purified you. And now, you're ready for more than enough. Chapter 3. This transfer isn't natural, it's supernatural. Chosen one, you need to understand what's really happening in this moment. This is not a normal upgrade. This isn't just a level up. This is a divine transfer, and it defies everything the world says is required to succeed. This shift you're stepping into cannot be explained by logic, hustle, or worldly qualification. It can only be explained by the hand of God. What's about to happen in your life will break natural laws. It will confuse the people who thought you were disqualified. It will silence the voices that said you weren't ready. Because this isn't something that can be traced back to man. This is something that will be marked by glory. This isn't a promotion you earned in man's system. It's an inheritance you were born for in God's kingdom. You're being pulled into something that doesn't even make earthly sense. The kind of wealth, wisdom, and favor you're about to walk in isn't tied to your resume, your credentials, your family background, or your financial past. It's not coming because you checked all the boxes. It's coming because you aligned when it cost you everything to obey. It's coming because you obeyed instructions that others ignored. You trusted the timing, and now it's about to unfold with power. This transfer has nothing to do with what's fair. It has everything to do with what's ordained. God is orchestrating a divine reversal. He's shifting resources, influence, and authority from the hands of the wicked to the hands of the righteous. The systems of man are being shaken, and in the midst of that shaking, heaven is rebuilding an economy that will operate through His chosen ones. This is not about ego or clout. It's about assignment. It's about God placing provision into the hands of those who will use it for purpose. And guess what, chosen one? You are in position. Not because you campaigned for it, not because you networked your way into the room, but because you stayed hidden until heaven said go. You didn't chase platforms. You chased presence. You didn't run after riches. You ran after revelation. You didn't follow money. You followed divine instruction. And because of that, the realm of heaven is now opening over your life. What you're about to receive, you didn't build it in your strength. You surrendered into it. This transfer isn't about hustle. It's about harvest. And when heaven releases something, no man can block it. What you couldn't build in 10 years by human means, God is about to place in your hands in one supernatural moment. This is why your obedience mattered. This is why your patience mattered. This is why your faith had to be tested. Because what's coming cannot be maintained by natural strength. It must be sustained by spirit. And you've been trained for it in secret. Now, the release is public. So when the doors fly open, when the contracts land, when the influence explodes, remember, this isn't natural, it's supernatural, and it came because heaven saw a vessel it could trust. You, the one who stayed obedient when no one was watching, the one who built in silence, the one who passed the hidden tests, and now you're about to walk in. the revealed reward. This is a divine transfer, and it's already in motion. You're not hoping for it anymore. You're standing in it. Chapter 4. God is reversing the roles, and the world will see it. Chosen one, everything is shifting. Not just behind the scenes, but in front of the very people who once misunderstood, overlooked, or doubted you. The roles are reversing, and it's happening in real time. This isn't just a change in circumstances. This is a divine reversal of spiritual authority, earthly positioning, and relational dynamics. You were once the one who asked for help, asked for a chance, asked to be seen. But now, you'll be the one who answers. Not from pride, but from divine promotion. You'll carry solutions where you once carried questions. You'll carry access where you once carried emptiness. You were once the one who waited for a call, waited for the email, waited for the opportunity, waited to be chosen. Now, you are the one who makes the calls. You are the one sending the invitations. You are the one opening the door that others will walk through. You were once the one who depended on others to eat, to survive, to get by, to believe in you. Now, others will depend on you, not just for resources, but for wisdom, strategy, and alignment. And they won't even realize they're receiving from the one they once ignored. This is not a coincidence. This is a prophecy being fulfilled. This is a divine reversal, and it's being made public on purpose. Heaven is not hiding this next move. God is intentionally putting your elevation on display, because your struggle was seen publicly. So now, your transformation must be seen publicly too. Not for your ego, but for God's glory. God hid your training in secret places. He allowed you to be misunderstood, mishandled, and underestimated, so that when He raises you, there will be no confusion. People will look at your life and say, "That had to be God." They'll realize they weren't just watching a comeback. They were witnessing a calling in motion. You were never just surviving. You were being shaped for service. Those who saw you crawl will now watch you soar. Those who overlooked your voice will now seek your counsel. Those who thought they were above you will now have to acknowledge what's upon you. And this isn't about revenge, it's about revelation. God is revealing what He placed inside you the whole time. This shift will prove that favor is real, that grace is real, that obedience carries weight, that waiting wasn't a waste. It was a weapon. They will know it wasn't luck. They will know it wasn't connections. They will know it wasn't a social climb or a lucky break. They will know it was God. The same God who saw you praying when no one saw your tears. The same God who covered you when the world forgot your name. And here's what's most powerful. They'll realize you were never just meant to borrow. You were never just meant to ask or beg or be in the background. You were meant to bless, to lead, to provide, to shift atmospheres and build legacies. Chosen one, this is your harvest, but it's more than elevation. It's demonstration. God is showing the world what happens when someone stays faithful in the valley. Chapter 5. The lender mantle comes with a mission. Chosen one, don't get this next level confused. This is not about flaunting success. It's not about posting pictures or chasing applause. This season isn't about looking blessed. It's about being a blessing. You're not being lifted to impress. You're being positioned to impact. God is giving you the lender mantle. And that mantle comes with a mission. This is kingdom territory now. God is about to release wealth and wisdom. But not for vanity. It's not just for your comfort. It's for a cause. You're about to become a divine resource in a broken world. You'll walk into rooms that need light, and you'll be that light. You'll carry provision where others are still praying for help. This mantle makes you a solution. When the world is screaming for answers, you'll have insight. When systems fail, you'll bring strategy. When people cry out for help, you won't just pray, you'll respond. You won't just write checks, you'll fund change. You'll fund visions, ideas, ministries, and systems that don't entertain. They elevate. You're going to birth movements, not for ego, but eternity. Movements that break cycles and restore families. You'll fund the unseen dreamers, because you once were one. You'll employ those who've been overlooked. You'll build tables for the rejected. You'll bridge people from surviving to stability, from wandering to walking in purpose. You'll rebuild ruins, not just buildings, but bloodlines. You'll restore families broken by poverty. You'll help children escape generational lack. You'll sow into ministries that feed, clothe, and uplift. The enemy fears this wealth because it's not selfish, it's strategic. It doesn't build mansions, it builds mission fields. It doesn't chase luxury, it releases legacy. This is why the warfare was so heavy, why your finances were attacked, why your mind came under fire. Because the devil saw what was coming, a lender anointing that shifts regions. But God preserved you. He purified your motives. He trained you to steward resources and responsibility. You didn't manipulate to get here. You didn't compromise to rise. You walked through fire and came out ready. The lender mantle isn't about what you receive. It's about what you're responsible for. You're accountable to heaven for how you release it. You'll stay humble in overflow and faithful in abundance. You'll lead with discernment and sow with purpose. Because this isn't just about money, it's about mission. God could have chosen anyone, but He chose you. He saw your heart. He saw your love in lack. He saw your loyalty in silence. Now the weight is falling on you, not as a burden, but a kingdom badge. You're not rising for fame. You're rising for generations. Your overflow will impact nations. This is your mantle, and you're ready. You didn't just survive, you were shaped. And now, God will use you to prove that prosperity with purpose is real. You're not rising by accident. You're rising on assignment. Chapter 6. You won't have to chase. Supply is chasing you. Chosen one, those days of running after the bag, forcing doors open, and begging for scraps, they're officially over. The season of desperation is finished. The season of divine distribution is here. You're about to step into a realm where you don't chase, you attract. You don't knock, doors swing open. You don't hustle for survival. You walk in supernatural supply. Why? Because the source of your provision has changed. You're no longer drawing from man's faucet. You're plugged into heaven's floodgates. You're not chasing money anymore. Money is chasing your assignment. Resources are locating your purpose. Provision is running after your obedience. This is what happens when you pass the test in the wilderness. When you still tithed, when you barely had anything, when you stayed loyal to your calling even when it looked like nothing was moving. You didn't sell your integrity to escape the valley. You trusted God when everything around you said, "It's over." And now it's harvest time. The windows of heaven are about to pour out blessings you won't have room to contain. And hear this, what's coming to you is not just a return on your grind. It's a reward for your faithfulness. You're about to reap where you didn't even sow in the natural, because you were sowing in the spiritual. Doors you didn't knock on are about to open with force. Calls you never imagined. Favor you couldn't buy if you tried. Because this isn't about your effort. This is about your alignment. God is blessing your position, not just your performance. You're being funded by a realm they can't see. That's why they mocked your patience. Because what was feeding you wasn't from earth, it was from the throne. While they were counting your bank balance, heaven was counting your obedience. And now it's being revealed. Chosen one, you are in a new realm. You don't chase provision. You command it by walking in divine purpose. You don't pray for crumbs. You speak from covenant. Opportunities are being magnetized to your anointing. Influence is being released, not because you want to be seen, but because you're ready to serve. Heaven is funding what you were faithful to build in private. And here's the best part. Multiple streams are forming. Ideas are about to become income. Visions are about to become ventures. Your voice will make room for your provision. Your gift is about to introduce you to kings. Not because you marketed yourself, but because God marked you himself. You're entering the season where the harvest chases the harvester, where miracles chase the mature. You're not begging anymore. You're building. You're not striving anymore. You're stewarding. Chapter 7. This is just the beginning, but everything has changed. Chosen one, hear this clearly. This is not the end of the road. It's the divine beginning. Yes, you're becoming the lender. Yes, you're being elevated. But this isn't the destination. It's the launch pad. You've entered the season where your posture of obedience has unlocked a permanent position of overflow. Heaven didn't just respond to your prayers. It's been waiting on your alignment. And now that you've walked through the process, passed the test, and honored the assignment, God is building something eternal through you. You are not just walking into wealth, you're walking into witness. God is using your story to show the world what restoration looks like. He's using your transformation to prove that his word still works. You are a living prophecy, a walking redemption plan. Your rise isn't random. Your increase isn't accidental. This moment was written into your scroll before you were ever formed in the womb. You're becoming the lender, yes, but that's only one dimension of what God is doing. You are being established as a best kingdom distributor, a spiritual vault, a builder of nations, a repairer of broken foundations, a torchbearer for generations yet unborn. What's being birthed through you will outlive you. What's being entrusted to you will echo for decades. Your life is no longer just your own. You are carrying legacy in your decisions now. Your children's children will be able to trace their stability, their safety, and their prosperity back to your surrender. They'll look back and say, someone in our bloodline finally trusted God with everything. And now we live blessed because of it. Chosen one, this isn't just about getting out of debt. It's about destroying the spiritual patterns that caused it. You are reversing decades of bondage. You are canceling ancestral contracts of lack and limitation. You are saying with your life, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, and we will live in overflow. You're not just shifting finances, you're shifting atmospheres. You're not just making money, you're making moves that shift culture, birth innovation, and create sustainable kingdom impact. Understand this. Your season of barely enough was a teacher. It taught you how to depend on God, not gain. It taught you to build character before cash. It taught you that favor is better than followers, and wisdom is better than wealth. Now, you get to move forward without bitterness, but with blueprint. You've been entrusted with more because you've proven you won't be consumed by it. You're not stepping into this new beginning as a version of your old self. You're stepping in refined. You're stepping in wise. You're stepping in knowing that the lender position is not just a reward, it's a responsibility. You're stepping in understanding that your elevation is for the benefit of others, not just yourself. From this point forward, your decisions must be driven by legacy. Your daily life must reflect that you are the first of many to rise. Because this elevation isn't just to bless you, it's to position you to bless entire communities, to rebuild ruined cities,